600 horsepower, the Ground Pounders, the Mod Squad, the North-South Shootout Modifieds. Watch them off turn 4 as we send them on their way. Blewett will lead lap number 1 over Emmerling as they go down into turn number 1. Myers up on the outside. Cisco inside of him tries to get close and no closer.
Burt Myers trying to work that top side in car 1. Cisco staying committed to the bottom, right where he started, behind Patrick Emmerling, the pole sitter. Outside lanes rolling, though. Burt Myers solidifies up the second spot for now. Now looking for the lead on Blewett as they come out of 2.
Battle back and forth. Spencer Davis getting the spot from Kyle Cisco. Cisco almost becoming the meat in the sandwich as they went 3 wide for just a second. And here's Jason Myers up on the outside. Now a challenge for the lead. Here comes Myers for the inside of Jimmy Blewett. Almost shoves up into him a little bit as they are now wheel-to-wheel down the back chute.
Boy, these guys are elbows up already. Burt Myers to the point. Just a few laps in the books, coming around a complete lap 4. Clear of Blewett for the race lead. Got the orange Nerf bar out in front of the pack. One car starting to make some moves, though, is that of Spencer Davis in the number 29. He was lightning fast early in the going at North Wilkesboro earlier this year, and it looks as though he's deploying a similar strategy. He's working his way to the front.
Talked to Spencer Davis yesterday. He said the car felt great. He was very happy with it. He said it didn't have great qualifying speed, but it had great overall race speed. And they think that that race speed is going to keep them in the hunt today as he picks off another position out there.
Makes a move to the inside of pole sitter Patrick Emmerling. Kyle Cisco trying to follow through. Emmerling, though, gets a great launch off of 4. Squeezes between he and the 29 of... make that the 29 of Spencer Davis. Emmerling just got in behind. Look at Davis making a move for second spot.
Davis now to the inside of Jimmy Blewett. And Jimmy Blewett looks like he's going to let Spencer Davis go because there's 118 laps still left in this event. More than enough time to get the job done. And remember, in the drivers' meeting yesterday, they are going to call for a competition caution for fuel in or around lap 50. So that is going to come as we get into the 50-lap mark of this race.
See, a lot of different strategies already being deployed by some of these drivers. Looks as though Burt Myers and Spencer Davis in your picture going pretty hard in the early stages of this one, with Blewett now riding in 3rd, Emmerling and Lofton your top 5. We continue to watch the battle for 2nd. Blewett right in the tire tracks of Spencer Davis as they come down the main straightaway. And boy, what a week it's been for that Tommy Baldwin team. Think of how close Blewett was to maybe adding a grandfather clock to the arsenal after leading late in the Wheel of Modified Tour event. Now running 3rd. Here's Lofton with a move inside of Emmerling.
Good move for Brian Lofton. Lofton has actually won here in the past in Southern Modified competition before. He's also won in SMRS races, and he's got a very strong shot running with Grady Jeffries in that red and white number 15 machine. He's been in that car a couple of times this year and actually picked up a couple of wins on the Smart Modified Tour. Got to get that right.
Yeah, Lofton actually has been competing. Oh, contact there. He slides up the racetrack. Look at Kyle Cisco trying to get 2 for 1.
Cisco got a little overzealous and nudged in there, and that actually moved Emmerling way up the track, and it looks like he's going to lose almost 3 positions. And here comes Ronnie Williams on the inside.
Yeah, when the entry list came out, they were showing Jamie Tomeno, the car owner, the 1990 Wheel of Modified champ, as the driver of this number 99 tonight. However, that is in fact Ronnie Williams. He had a really strong run last year, finished 6th, and his only prior North-South Shootout start was twice. This is his 3rd North-South Shootout he's competing in, and he's giving that car a good run trying to get around the fast qualifier.
Yeah, Williams has 2 top 10 finishes and 2 6th-place starts. This year he qualified 9th. And, he may be able to make the charge to the front, which is he's doing right now, and he has led 39 laps in this race in the past.
You see Williams still trying to work his way around Patrick Emmerling, who's been able to make the outside work in the defensive pattern. Almost had contact there for 3rd. Brian Lofton had a check up. That may cost him a spot. Blewett dives low on Davis to go back to 2nd as Myers leads them off 4.
Great battle for 2nd on back. Myers just opening up the gap between himself and 2nd place, and this will be Myers' 19th start in the shootout. Of course, he's a 2-time winner back in 2008 and 2009 and finished 3rd in last year's race. And, boy, he's really showing his muscle. Myers, another guy this race is one of those ones that he wants to win all the time. He's won it twice. He wants to do it even more.
is the fight for second, third, and fourth. Davis now lunging to the inside on Blewett. These two are in a fight that just won't end, and Kyle Sisko's got a front row spot watching it all. Davis back to the runner-up spot, Blewett to third, and somehow they're starting to reel in Burt Myers, who may be trying to control the pace at the front at this time.
With all of that going on, Kyle Sisko is watching the action from Jimmy Blewett. I mean, he and Jimmy Blewett have rubbed Nerf bars before, of course, racing at Wall Stadium Speedway over the years. Kyle Sisko, driving the PSR house car, knows he has a very good car this weekend. Just be smart with it, be patient with it, and know when to use it to your advantage.
Saw his father Brian here, who travels down to this race. Second year in a row that Kyle's been able to be in one of those Phil Stefanelli prepared entries, and he is trying to take in every moment of it. As we watch some of the fights going on throughout the midfield, Patrick Emmerling, the pole sitter, under fire. Got a little bit of a nudge there in the left rear Nerf bar from Ronnie Williams, who dives to the inside in 3.
This is the battle for sixth position out there as Williams is working on Emmerling, making that dive again as they get into turn number 1, but Emmerling is able to get that drive up off the corner and now run him down the back straightaway. You can see it right there, but Williams has his nose tucked far enough in there this time, and they are rubbing that Nerf bar against his right front tire.
So it makes the style of racing so much fun. These two can make contact and get away with it, but that can only last for so long. Jason Myers in the 4 trying to find an avenue by. And a little more contact there on the backstretch.
That's the Advantage Motorsports number 14 machine of Patrick Emmerling. And, boy, he's having a good time out there racing side by side with Ronnie Williams. Like we said, Ronnie Williams in the past won the track championship at Stafford Motor Speedway in the SK Modifieds, driving for Adam Scoera. And now we are watching the leaders. Here's Burt Myers in that white and black Fury chassis, number 1, being chased by Spencer Davis in the Chalu Performance-sponsored number 29 machine.
Myers doing a great job, again, controlling the pace of this race. As we drop back to the bottom portion of the top 10, there's Jason Myers in the 4 trying to get by Emmerling. And James Savali, Derek touched on it earlier, the Hillbilly Motorsports team, which had a couple of different drivers in their tour-type car, started the year with Jeremy Gerstner. Zach Brewer filled the void after Gerstner and his team parted ways. And now it is Savali, and not quite sure what his plans are for next year, as he's kind of been focusing mostly on his career at Trackhouse Racing. But seeing Savali's name on the entry list could excite many, including us modified fans. And he's given that car a pretty good run here early in the going. He's up to 8th.
Well, for all intents and purposes, talking with him earlier this weekend, he says this really was just a one-time deal to come run this car today. And he's having a lot of fun. He said the car is surprisingly good. He is very happy with how it's performing. And right now, James Savali is using it to his advantage.
Savali, actually one of the cars on the move, as that fight for second starts to heat up again. Blewett, Davis, now pull Kyle Sisko into the mix, and another one of those Tommy Baldwin Racing 7NY starting to enter your picture, and that one would be Doug Kobe rounding out the top 5. He's slowly starting to close in on this threesome as Davis parades him down the backstretch.
27 laps are in the books so far, and around lap 50, they did say that they were going to have a competition caution for fuel. No adjustments can be made on the car. They can just fuel up, jack the car up, and then go. That's about it.
Be an opportunity for the drivers to at least communicate while not in the heat of battle what their cars may be doing, so that way they could adjust on a later pit stop should the opportunity present itself, as we still have side-by-side action off the corner. That's Emmerling and Savali wheel-to-wheel in turn 1 with Brian Lofton and Jason Myers lurking.
Watch out. Savali takes a walk up the hill a little bit. Lofton looking to the inside, but that's all it was just a look. Emmerling, he's been stuck up there for a few laps, actually, been trying to get down to the bottom.
I was at first wondering if Emmerling maybe, as he tries to cover the spot on Lofton, I was wondering if maybe this was a strategy move to try to take it easy in these early laps and see if he could cycle his way back up towards the front and trying to maintain those Hoosier tires. But you're right, ever since he got trapped up to the outside early, he's had a hard time getting down, and he finally sandwiches himself between Savali and Lofton for the moment. And
here's something interesting, Eric. Matt Hirschman is back in 24th position.
You would have to believe that's by design in some capacity. It's quite surprising that he's elected to stay there, whereas Caleb Petty's already up to 18th spot. So
I definitely think we're seeing the strategy come from Matt Hirschman already. They already know a competition caution is going to come. They also know cautions are going to come later in this race, and there he is right there, pacing himself and more than likely not leaning on those tires very hard right now.
You see him right behind the Ford B of Tim Connolly. And Derek, I know you got to catch up with the legendary car owner of that number 4 car. We always remember the Mystic Missile, says it on the back body panel there, but Tim's having a lot of fun. And with Bob Garbarino also on the property having a good time as well.
It was very cool to see Bob Garbarino here today. Been a few years since we saw him, and traditionally walking around in his yellow V4 button-down shirt that we always saw him at the racetrack in for so many years. But he and Tim Connolly remained very good friends over the years, even after Tim stopped driving for him, and they always wanted to catch back up and get together. And actually, Bob gave the car to Tim to race.
I believe this may be one of, if not the last car to come out of the Garbarino shop that Tim Connolly is wheeling here today. And he said, when I caught up with him in North Wilkesboro, he said, it's a family affair now. And I said, is this a swan song for you? And he said, I think we're just getting started.
Well, it's been 20 years since Tim Connolly has been behind the wheel. He's shaking off the rust a little bit, but boy, is he having fun. But we're keeping an eye on the leaders, which are actually coming up on the back of Tim Connolly in that group right there. And there they are, Burt Myers leading that line of cars. Spencer Davis is in the second spot. In the third spot is Jimmy Blewett.
And maybe one of the reasons why we saw Hirschman decide to pull the trigger and get by not only the four of Tim Connolly, but also Michael Rich was in the same picture as well. On the same straightaway as the leaders is Matt Hirschman at the tail end of the lead lap. You don't hear that often, but I would imagine should push come to shove, he's going to hit the afterburners and try to keep himself in front of car one.
You know what's really cool, Eric, is we're seeing guys from a lot of different disciplines coming and trying the modifieds. Spencer Davis came from the Truck Series and the ARCA Series. He loves the modifieds. Jeff Fultz, a former All-Pro Series champion, he's hopping in a car and he's going racing. Michael Rich, years and years of experience in the Busch Series and in the Pro Cup, now running an open-wheel modified.
One of my favorite talking points as we watch Myers work around the outside of Connolly here to put him a lap down. I remember when Bobby Labonte was telling Dale Earnhardt Jr. about driving these cars, and the only thing that he had to say was, have you ever done it? Because once you do, you're hooked. And it's becoming evident. We're also seeing a lot of young talent elect to pick this style of racing as the next step in their racing career. We talked about several drivers already, including Kyle Sisko, who is under attack here off of turn number 4 for position. Carson Lofton, Paulie Hartwig III, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of young drivers starting to make their way into this style of racing, and it's paying dividends for sure.
Your champion, Caleb Petty.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another one, and we're watching one of those cars from the Tommy Baldwin stable running in the third spot, in your shot right there, third in line. Spencer Davis, the meat in that sandwich, and 83 laps to go in this race, and so far it has been pretty clean.
If we were expecting that competition caution around lap 50, we're now 7 laps away from that mark, and it didn't sound like it was signed, sealed, delivered going to be on that point, but we'll see if it should in fact fall within the next 7 laps or so, with Myers, Davis, and Blewett continuing to be your top 3.
Last year, Burt Myers finished 5th in this race. He led 19 laps. He finished 5th in the Smart Points in 2022 and also 5th in the Bowman Gray Stadium points with 4 wins this year, but 10 track championships at Bowman Gray is nothing to sneeze at.
Here we see Patrick Emmerlings trying to overtake some of the lap traffic. Brian Lofton trying to follow as well. That's one of a 2-car effort out of the Shady Grady stable, as Brian's son Carson is making, I believe, his 4th total or 4th ever Tour-type modified start, and Brian actually credits racing his 14-year-old son as one of the reasons why he's been able to step up his game, as we see Dennis Holdren getting wide off the corner.
It was so funny. After talking with Brian, I said, why decide to put him in the car? And he said, we just went for a test one day to go try him out, and he was 0.2 of a second quicker than I was on the track.
As we see the caution flag flying here.
It's Joey Payne and Michael Rich. You've got a Truck Series guy, a super modified guy, and a stock car guy. And there goes Matt Hirschman down to the inside.
Hirschman wasting no time to cut to the bottom and move up to second around the Smart Champion Hetty, while Burt Myers lunges low, and we're banging Mark Bars mid-pack.
Lots of traffic behind him. Emmerling trying to figure out how to get his way through there, and everybody's slipping and sliding on those little granules of speedy dry that's out there right now. They've got to get a couple of laps in to move some of that out of the way so the grip can build back up.
Hirschman now up to second. You see the rest of the midfield trying to figure things out as everybody tries to settle in line. That yellow car, Jeff Fultz moving up. And here is Matt Hirschman arriving on the scene. 2 laps away from completing lap 50. And Matt Hirschman, who went hang out back, is going for the lead in 3.
And even with tires that are way older than everyone else, Matt Hirschman can go to the top spot of the track. And he is leading this race right now with Spencer Davis in tow. But look at Burt Myers. Myers knows he has fresh rubber and a fast car, and he wants to get past Spencer Davis.
Myers with a good angle off the corner. Davis now trying to protect low. I wonder if since Hirschman now has gotten to the point, if he's going to try to set the pace. Only run as hard as he has to hold off the competition. Davis trying to drive defensively to fend off Burt Myers for now. Myers gets a good run off, too. This battle for second will head to 3.
75 to go, and Myers goes to the bottom to challenge for that second spot. Banging Nerf bars really quick, and here comes the number 1 with fresh rubber, and now he has Matt Hirschman in his sights.
James Savali, one of the cars that came in and bolted on a fresh right rear tire. He's starting to float his way towards the front of the pack as well. Just got around Caleb Petty for 4th.
Hetty sits one spot right behind him, and then behind him is his teammate, Jimmy Blewett, and they all run clustered as they come off the corner.
Former winner here at Caraway in Southern Modified competition, and Gary Putnam outside in the 77, trying to cut underneath Michael Rich in the 11, who was off the pace at a 2. Not sure. He was one of the cars who did stay out, so maybe he's just trying to fall to a safe zone as the fight for third starts to intensify. Savali on Davis.
And there's the 2.7s, the Tommy Baldwin racing cars of Hetty and Blewett. Blewett now going to the bottom of Hetty. Hetty lets him go and gives him the spot to take the position away. Look at Savali up on the curb of the track as he's trying to get underneath Spencer Davis.
Savali knows that he's got to get going as he gets back into the rear end of the number 29 of Spencer Davis as well that time through.
Let's go downstairs to James Pike. James?
Yeah, just talks to the crew. Burt Myers, he said he's really handling, and no complaints. They just changed the right rear to make sure he's got a little bit more grip, trying to save that, conserve that, make sure he's in good shape. But otherwise, all things going well for Burt Myers for that one car.
Yeah, protecting the right rear. Like they said, paramount at this racetrack. That's what everyone's keeping an eye on. They don't want to chew up that right rear. That goes away. There goes all your grip.
You can just start to feel this race click up in intensity as if it's like a volume knob. Just click, click, click as the laps go on. And we're starting to see Patrick Emmerling, the fast qualifier who faded early on in the first run of this race, starting to cycle his way back up to the front. He's running 6th right now and is trying to get up into the top 5.
And right there is the youngest driver in the field, the number 73 of Paulie Hartwig III, running a fine race right now, but now action goes back to the leaders. And here's first, second, and third. And boy, James Savali talked about how good of a race car he had yesterday, and he's letting it be known.
There was a lot of energy amongst the Hillbilly team about Savali being back in the cockpit of this race car. Obviously, Zach Brewer has wheeled this car to some solid results so far this year. Won a couple races at the Madhouse with this team. And Jeremy Gerstner had himself a podium finish at Franklin County. But Savali has injected a level of life for this team in what should be, or is scheduled to be, their final race of 2022. And he is hounding the 2021 and 2-time Smart Champion for second.
It's chemistry. It really is. It's the combination of the Hills and James Savali. Their personalities and their chemistry work very well. They have gone through a couple of drivers over the years. They have had Craig Lutz in the car. They've had George Brunhosel in the car over the years, Jeremy Gerstner. But it just seems like the chemistry mixes best with James Savali behind the wheel.
There were a lot of smiles around that pit area today. Could you imagine what the scene would look like should Savali be able to find his way in victory lane for the first time in his North-South Shootout tenure? Big slide off the corner by Savali. He's pushing hard on that new right rear.
63 laps left to go. And we are watching Burt Myers leading James Savali down the back straightaway into 3. Myers with 4 wins this year at Bowman Gray Stadium. Myers, a former 2-time Southern Modified Tour champion, Smart Modified Tour champion. And now we see Kyle Sisko and Patrick Emmerling going at it. Sisko in the PSR house car. He'll get to the bottom of Emmerling in the Advantage Motorsports 14.
The 2 cars that started up in the top 3 when they came to the green flag earlier tonight. Right now, it is Sisko cracking the top 5. That was a pass for 5th spot as they worked their way off of turn number 2. Surprised maybe perhaps by the fact that last year this race saw a lot of early yellows, or should I say frequent yellows, and so far we've only had the 1 caution flag that began by the piece of debris off Jeremy Gerstner's car. It turned into the frantic pit stops as Savali is slow in turn 3, perhaps yielding a position there to Blewett at the end of the back straightaway.
Yeah, something going on with Savali, definitely falling off from being on Burt Myers' back bumper in a hurry. And now we're watching the leader, Matt Hirschman, down the back stretch, and as he comes up on Tim Connolly, and Connolly more than likely went wheel to wheel with Hirschman's father, Tony Hirschman, over the years.
You talk about a blast from the past here for Hirschman to go around that car of Connolly. Makes the pass to put Connolly a lap off of the leaders at the moment. It didn't seem to slow Hirschman down much, but there is a lot more lap traffic that Hirschman's going to have to navigate should this race stay green. And I think they're going to be a little bit more assertive as far as trying to stay on the lead lap. He's got Johnny K and Michael Rich just out the windshield as Myers clears the 4.
Myers with no pressure around him down the back straightaway, but boy, there's a huge gap from first to second, and there is your leader. And it really is amazing at how well that car is performing on tires that are probably 50 laps older than everyone else.
Well, while we have a moment here with the leaders working their way down the backstretch, let's go down to the pit area and hear from Pike.
You told the story about Burt Myers earlier. Same thing for Matt Hirschman. Absolutely dead quiet on the radio, focusing on trying to get around the lap traffic. Manage the car. There's already enough he's doing behind the wheel already, so just trying to maintain track position and make sure nothing crazy happens.
Had a 3 wide moment down the back straightaway right there as Matt Hirschman was lapping cars, and he gets by without any issue. And we've got cars, Eric, all the way around this racetrack.
Calm, cool, and collected is something that I think of whenever trying to describe the racecraft of Matt Hirschman. And he was walking with a bit of poise on his way to the race car with the helmet bag in hand. And it appears as though so far he has set out to try to accomplish the task, and that is to win this race for the 8th time. But we're coming up on about 50 laps to go here. Do a little bit of housekeeping for you. Michael Rich has just brought his car to the pit area. There you see one of the PSR entries in the field. As Derek mentioned, longtime NASCAR then Busch Series competitor. Also saw NASCAR Pinty Series champion Kaden Lapsevich go to the pit area early as well. So haven't seen that much attrition here. We saw Gerstner's problem earlier, but it's been a relatively clean race. Perhaps that means we're about to enter the intense final 50.
Laps again continuing to click away, and now you're looking at Burt Myers, Jimmy Blewett hot on his tail as he comes off the corner. And Blewett, they'll go underneath the number 51 machine of Junior Young.
Field gets their way by that car cleanly as they head up for turns 1 and 2. And we've mentioned this several times. Jimmy Blewett and the relationship with Tommy Baldwin Racing was in a TBR car for this race 1 year ago. And boy, have they had some success, even picking up a NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour win at Jimmy's home track at Wall Stadium earlier this year. And Jimmy was one of 3 drivers to help wheel this car to an owner's title on the NASCAR Tour. But the one bucket list item that remains is winning this race, and right now he is running 3rd. He finished in the top 3 the last 2 North-South shootouts he contested, as we see one of the team cars here, and Doug Kobe trying to wrestle a spot away from Spencer Davis.
A lot of talent between those 3 drivers right there. Spencer Davis, Doug Kobe, Brian Lofton, 2 former modified champions. Spencer Davis has won in all sorts of competition, from the ARCA Series to late models to actually go-karts when he was just starting out.
Lofton in the mix as well here as they come up on the main straightaway. And here is that fight for the 2nd spot. Blewett has arrived all over the backside of Burt Myers. These 2 fought for 2nd earlier in this race. Then it ended up being a fight for the lead as Myers led the opening quadrant of this contest. And now Blewett is all over the rear Nerf bars that come out too. A little bit of a different approach on the exit of the corner, trying to gain some ground on the ace.
Yeah, you could see Burt Myers actually make that L-shaped kind of arc going into turn number 1, trying to get that car to kind of like catch on the right front and dig into the ground so we can get it turned and rotated. Now they're coming up on some back markers. That's John Smith in front of him, driving that 07 machine from Mark Dowdy.
Yeah, Smith, who's made select modified starts for this team, gets loose in front of the battle for 2nd, has to yield on the main straightaway. Myers almost sent Smith for a slide there as they came off the corner, and Blewett has yet to yield in his fight for the runner-up position.
John Smith got way sideways coming off the corner. He was able to hold on to it. John Smith, an accomplished racer, a winner at Bowman Gray. When he raced there every week, he's also won SMRS competition and Southern modified races in the past. And there's Jeff Fultz going a lap down to Matt Hirschman as well.
Jeff Fultz, one of the co-owners to Fury Race Cars, being able to test drive one of his cars here tonight. A car that's been wheeled by Craig Young throughout the Smart Modified Tour. Craig on site here. He's turned over the keys to a few drivers of that car so far this season. Now we're trying to see what Fultz could do, but he's getting muscled aside a lap down as Myers and Blewett are able to get through 3.
Yeah, right there. You can see Burt Myers knocking on the back door saying, "Excuse me, coming through." And that's exactly what he and Jimmy Blewett did. as now they're putting a lap on the number 5 of Carson Lofton, and now they're going to put a lap on Jason Myers down the back straightaway into 3.
That means that Matt Hirschman is lapped all the way up to 15th spot. Next car in line is going to be that of Joey Payne, who has had a solid run tonight here. And that Gershow number 2, remember, he stayed out earlier, but keeping that car on the lead lap, pretty impressive with 40 to go.
Very good run for Joey Payne. Started 25th at the drop of the green. He's up to 14th right now, so he picked up a little more than 10 spots along the way. Another one of those drivers, I think, that is hoping for one of those late race cautions so they can come in and put tires on.
Starting to see a lot of these drivers struggle with the handle of their cars as this long run has really started to push the issue for several competitors. How about Gary Putnam? Smart winner at Caraway in the summer of 2021, trying to get up to and past Spencer Davis for the final spot in the top 10 in 3.
Nice run for Gary Putnam. Gary Putnam has actually won in the past in modified competition. He's won at Orange County Motor Speedway. He's won here in the past. So he definitely has some wins to his credit. And right now that car running very solid out there.
Just about every car appears to be having to feather the accelerator on corner exit. And you would have to imagine that at some point somebody's going to push it too far, and we might see the yellow should somebody overstep that boundary. Here's Myers getting by Joey Payne as he has now gone a lap down. Blewett follows in the tire tracks. It's all going on about half a straightaway behind your leader, Matt Hirschman, who continues to operate out in front of the pack.
36 laps left to go. And boy, it has been the story of Matt Hirschman, and just amazing how well that car is performing. But looking back deeper in the field, there's the number 14 machine. That is Patrick Emmerling, 2-time ROC Modified Tour champion. And yeah, they've got some lap traffic of Jason Myers in front of him. And there is also the 7NY machine of Doug Kobe.
You mentioned that for some of these teams, this is going to be the last race of the year, like that of Hillbilly and some of the Southern Modified competitors. But for Tommy Baldwin Racing, they're going to turn around 2 of these cars and bring them up to Riverhead Raceway next week for the Islip 300. It'll be Jimmy Blewett and Doug Kobe going to battle for that organization, as Kobe was able to get underneath Patrick Emmerling for that spot, while your leader, Matt Hirschman, is about to catch Paulie Hartwig III, who runs 13th, and this fight for second just won't go away.
And modified racing is not done in the month of November because we still have the Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium that they're going to run.
Yeah, Jimmy Blewett is certainly a name that you're going to be hearing in the headlines when that race kicks off on Thanksgiving weekend. But first, he wants to add a North-South shootout win to his arsenal, and he has not been able to get up to and around Burt Myers just yet as Hirschman continues to navigate lap traffic. That's Spencer Davis, one of the proverbial favorites coming into the night, falling off the lead lap in 13th spot.
Car looks like it's starting to fade on Spencer Davis, and this is what we were seeing, what Chris Williams was talking about, trying to keep up with Matt Hirschman and running their equipment out, just trying to stay with him.
And it looks as though Blewett has made the pass. He got underneath and through Burt Myers for second spot. The gap to Hirschman, 1.5 seconds. Is it enough? Is there enough time? Will this race somehow stay green in the final 30 laps? We're going to keep our eyes on the stopwatch here, as Blewett is going to be the next one to encounter Davis, who is off the lead lap.
There has only been one caution so far in this race, and that was pretty much the competition caution with, and there we go, as quickly as we said it. The pace car starting to...
As we get set to get underway, Derek, we're getting close to the pay window opening, and big money's out front.
Pace car now pulling down to the inside. Hirschman and Williams going to bring the field to green, and they're playing chicken out there, it looks a little bit, and Williams has got the advantage going down the front straightaway. Hirschman's got the line on the inside.
There's a lot of pushing and shoving once they hit the restart zone, and look at Blewett diving to the inside on Ronnie Williams, shoves him wide to move up to second spot.
Williams hard left, trying to get back down into the groove. He falls in the line going into the corner, but there's Myers on the bottom.
You want to talk about a motivated driver. How about that move by Blewett to get up to second? What can he do with Hirschman? Burt Myers trying to do something similar on the bottom side of Williams.
Myers cooked it in there a little bit. Oh, trouble off of turn 4. Savali gets turned sideways. Everybody starts to stack up, and the track almost gets completely blocked.
Several cars involved with nowhere to go. Gary Putnam is swept up in the crash. Looks like one of the Mark Dowdy machines, perhaps John Smith, is kind of pinched sideways as well. And Kyle Sisko, broadside. Right now, as Savali's doing everything he can to drive away, and the right front of Sisko's car is destroyed.
And Savali did not look happy. You saw him light the tires up just quickly Cisco with a lot of damage. Tough break for the driver who pace car is off, and you can hear the engine RPM starting to come back up. Oh! Hirschman just moves Blewett up the track.
Oh, Blewett's trying to get back down. Ronnie Williams to the inside with Burt Myers as well. Blewett's going to fall out of the top 5 for the time being after getting muscled wide out of turn number 2.
And Blewett not happy about that move at all. And there you can see Emmerling going to the bottom of Doug Kobe, challenging for the second spot down the back straightaway. Emmerling to the inside of Kobe, and he'll take that second spot away.
Emmerling back to the runner-up spot as Kobe gets loose off turn 4. Ronnie Williams to 4th. Burt Myers to 5th as they run. Blewett back to 6th. Savali side by side with another one of the Tommy Baldwin cars. That one would be Caleb Hetty as they enter your picture. It's Emmerling in 2nd and the Congo line behind him.
And here comes the driver with 4 brand new tires. That's the 29 of Spencer Davis. In that Chalu Performance 29, he's to the inside of Savali. We've got some cars slowed down the back straightaway. Uh-oh, trouble!
That was almost huge as Savali shoved Spencer Davis down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he almost clobbered the slow Carson Lofton.
Everybody taking the high line around Paulie Hartwig III as we now go back to the front. Ronnie Williams just scraped the outside wall going down the back straightaway. He loses a spot to Myers, and now Blewett trying to push his way in there.
Williams now trapped up high. A pair of Tommy Baldwin Racing teammates trying to work their way back up towards the front of the pack. Blewett makes the pass. Caleb Hetty down low. He's on the inside of Ronnie Williams. Savali after the contact with Spencer Davis, also floating up towards the top 5.
Everybody now starting to settle into single file as they go through turns 1 and 2. Boy, a lot of jockeying for position in those last couple laps, but there is your leader, Matt Hirschman, who has proven with new tires or old tires, he has had the dominant car all day long.
Hirschman's lead to the tune of just over 1 second as we got a pair of Tommy Baldwin Racing cars side by side in turn number 2. Moving through on the bottom side, that might have been Caleb Hetty who made the pass on Blewett that time through. We'll confirm it at the stripe as they come down the main straightaway. Burt Myers next on the agenda, and that was in fact Hetty who made the pass on his teammate.
20 laps to go in this race. That's it. Just 20 more laps. And there goes Burt Myers with a huge dive into turn number 3. He's another driver with some fresher rubber on that race car. But don't know if he's going to have enough time to be able to catch the cars in front of him. Oh, Tim Connolly in the wall.
It's a pretty square hit for Connolly up into the wall in turns 3 and 4. You see the front nerf bar pushed back, and he is dropping the window net. He is okay, but that looked like that may have been quite the shot for Connolly in the Mystic Missile. And it looks as though his night is going to come to an end with 19 laps to go.
He shortened up the front end. Field starting to tighten up. Here we go again. Green flag flies. We're back underway. Hirschman with the great advantage on the inside. He's got the lead going into 1.
Where things get really tight. Second on back. Burt Myers trying to shove Kobe clear. Now he's going to dart to the bottom. Cuts in front of Jimmy Blewett on the bottom side. It's going to be Emmerling clearing his way past for second. Myers a little bit loose off turn 4. Inside of Kobe for third.
Myers sees the hole on the bottom and he went for it. Now he's got the advantage of Doug Kobe going down the back straightaway. He also has Caleb Hetty hot on his tail too. Hetty running a good solid race. Hasn't made much waves in this race, but he has been there and he's been consistent.
We talked about Matt Hirschman electing to start at the back. Let's not forget Hetty did the same thing. Hetty ended up falling towards the back of the pack. And he elected to start at the rear of the field there. And he is now in a side-by-side fight. Contact there off the corner as Burt Myers made a little bit of contact there with one of the Tommy Baldwin cars. They're bouncing off each other in turn 1.
Whoa, big dive to the inside goes Caleb Hetty, and he's going to pull Ronnie Williams right along with him as Williams is trying to take the spot away.
As they come through 3 and 4, Ronnie Williams trying to keep one of those cars pinned to the outside. He'll make the pass on the front stretch. That's going to kick Doug Kobe. He was runner-up when they came down for the restart. 4 laps later, he's out of the top 5, back to 7th.
Right now, Kobe being freight trained to the outside of the racetrack. That's one thing that definitely comes into factor here at Caraway Speedway. If you get stuck up on the outside, you can get drop kicked a couple of spots in a hurry. And Kobe trying to get that car down to the bottom, at Myers underneath him.
Talking about Spencer Davis earlier. Remember, he pitted late. Has the 4 tires. Oh. Contact trouble. That's one of the TBR cars spinning in turn.
Here we go. Pace car is off. Coming back to the restart. Green flag flies. We're underway. And Myers trying to keep neck and neck with Hirschman. Can't get it done.
There's a lot of contact. Look at Myers lunge to the bottom. He almost got into the rear nerf bar of Hirschman. Thought for sure Myers was going to continue with that full send move on the backstretch, and now he's got his hands full with Emmerling for second.
Emmerling knocking on the back door as he comes off the corner. He's got a good run down the back straightaway, and Emmerling trying to make that move to the bottom, just can't make it yet.
The only two reigning winners of the North-South Shootout currently run first and second, and they almost had a big mess in turn 3, fresh off the restart. Emmerling trying to get up to the runner-up spot. Here's the fight for fourth. Car on the move. That is Caleb Hetty trying to get it around Ronnie Williams off 4.
Single file, they're going to come down the front straightaway. 115 laps going up on the board. 10 more laps to go. That finds Matt Hirschman out in front with just a handful to go, and he's pulling away.
3/4 of a second. The gap from Hirschman back to Myers, who's been able to fend off Emmerling for now. Hetty inside of Ronnie Williams as they go to turn 1. The two almost come together. Williams gives him just enough room in the outside, and Jamie Tomeno's 99, and they'll battle side by side to 3.
Williams slid the car in the middle of the corner a little bit, and that's what held him up. That's what allowed Caleb Hetty to get past, and he does. Your defending Smart Modified Tour champion takes the spot away, and he will move into the 4th position.
So got some rooting and gouging going on throughout the pack. There's Gary Putnam in the blue number 77 trying to work over Spencer Davis, who's had an interesting last few laps. Here's the fight for second on the main straightaway. Emmerling about a half a car length off the back bumper. The two-time Smart Modified titleist, and he gets a good run off turn 2.
Great battle going on a little deeper in the field. Doug Covey just made slight contact with Gary Putnam. Putnam, he's hot on the bumper of Spencer Davis as he comes down the front straightaway. No changes for position just yet.
Also had some contact in his race for second. Emmerling gave Burt Myers a boot right here 1 lap ago. This time he falls off the backside of Burt, and moving up into the frame, Caleb Hetty. The youngster continues to impress. He's the highest running Tommy Baldwin car right now, and he's looking for more.
Well, right now, Patrick Emmerling is thinking to himself, I can get to Matt Hirschman. I've just got to get Burt Myers out of my way. It looks like Myers is holding up that line right now as Emmerling is trying to get past so he can break away to work on Matt Hirschman.
4 laps to go, and even with this hot and heavy fight for second spot, Hirschman has only opened up about a 1-second gap over what is a 3-car battle that will surely go down to the wire should this race stay green. All these cars, all these drivers going full bore from this point out to the checkered flag. And Hirschman is starting to open things up here at the front. 2 laps to go for Matt Hirschman.
Just 1 more mile around this Sophia, North Carolina oval, and Matt Hirschman will find himself with 8, count them, 8 North-South Shootout victories to his credit. And man, there's one guy that comes to a modified race that you always kind of look and put your money on, and that's the guy right there, the 60 of Matt Hirschman.
Half a lap away from another North-South Shootout win. Half a lap away from a $2,500 bonus is Hirschman as he comes to the final corners.
Off turn 4 for the final time. Matt Hirschman is going to win the North-South Shootout for the 8th time in his career. Burt Myers comes across the line in second. Patrick Emmerling 3rd, Caleb Hetty 4th, and Ronnie Williams will round out the top 5.
You saw the PD Motorsports team celebrating this driver. That team has been doing a lot of celebrating all year long, and Matt Hirschman, for the 8th time in his career, is celebrating a North-South Shootout victory, and he did so after starting at the